Hi, Kerry.
Hello.
All right, well, I've been trying to get you on here for a bit.
Yeah, sorry about that.
And, well, no, first things first, I think it does take a lot of courage just to even be willing to come on and speak about courage, fears, this kind of thing anyway, right? So that's a huge step in itself. But the reason why I'm super grateful for you being on here is because what we're going to talk about, I feel like, is a super important topic that maybe doesn't get spoken about much. And I can literally not think of anything else that can really top something like this in terms of fears and courage and having to overcome something. So around 2 years ago, you were diagnosed with endometrial cancer. Endometrial cancer, right, thank you. I can never say it. Now, I've not heard of that personally, what type of cancer that is. Can you explain
what it is?
Yeah.
Basically, it is cancer of the womb. So it's not related to your ovaries like ovarian cancer or your cervix. It is your womb. So yeah, that's basically it.
If we can just talk about what was that like for you when you found out? I mean, I'm assuming that there was something going on symptom-wise. How like what first happened that made you first realize, oh shit, like I need to go and see someone?
So I literally only had one symptom, which was bleeding in between periods, like a very slight bleeding between periods, like the tiniest bit.
And if I can ask, like, how did you know that was, because I feel like so many things can be connected to that. Like there's so many reasons why a woman can do that.
That's what I put it down to. We'd had quite a stressful time in China with COVID and stuff, so I just kind of put it down to stress, hormones, whatever. And then when we were back in the UK, I went to the doctors about something totally unrelated, and at the end of the appointment she said, is there anything else? And I thought, maybe I should just mention it. You know, it's going to be nothing, but I should just mention it just in case. And thankfully I mentioned it, and she took it seriously and sent me for an ultrasound, internal ultrasound, where they found a polyp. And then, yeah, it all kind of went from there. So, yeah.
So you didn't, you had no idea? Like there was nothing like a symptom that was like, oh my God, it could be this?
No, I hadn't even considered that it would be cancer. And I am the biggest worrier about health. I had such bad health anxiety. And it didn't even pass my mind, like I didn't even think about it. I had no idea. I came to Thailand like 2 months later, expecting just it to be nothing. And then that's when I got the phone call,
So when you, okay, so you went to go see the doctor, so she said at that time that it could be this, or she just sent you for the test?
She just said, just to be sure, it could be like menopause, or it could be anything. But we need to check it just in case.
Okay.
Thank God, because a lot of doctors would not have done that. And I know a lot of stories since that they haven't had that, you know, good doctor saying, well, let's just check it just in case.
Wow.
So very grateful.
Go get checked. Yeah, never hold back. So when did you find out the results? You said you came to Thailand 2 months after?
A few months after. I can't remember exactly when it was. I think it was like October time when I had the pelvic ultrasound. And that's when they found a polyp, and they sent me then for a biopsy and to remove the polyp, because the polyp was likely to not be cancerous. And it's from that biopsy that I got the diagnosis. And I think we moved here in January, early January, and I got the diagnosis 2 weeks after moving here, after moving into this building.
So when you got the diagnosis, that confirmed one of the biggest, most scariest things that probably many people worry about. Not only were you not in your home country,
It was over the phone.
you'd just moved again, I mean, moving in itself,
Yeah.
another story, but you also found out over the phone.
Yeah.
Like, what was that like? Like, just that phone call. What happened after that phone call?
Oh, it was crazy. Well, it wasn't actually, I did get the phone call, but they couldn't get hold of me because obviously I wasn't in the UK. So somehow they'd got hold of my mum. So obviously looked at family records and stuff. Mum's out walking the dogs, gets a phone call from the hospital saying, we really need to speak to Kerry, it's urgent. And obviously Mum's like, what the fuck? And here it was about, I don't know, about 10 o'clock at night. It was just getting ready for bed, like getting chilled. Saw my phone flashing and I thought, what? And it was my mum. And then she said, the hospital's rang, it's urgent, you've got to get hold of this lady. And then I was just like, total panic mode. I just, like, my legs went to jelly and it was awful, horrendous. So I had to then somehow, I can't even remember how I got hold of her. I think I had to use Skype, like Skype credit to get hold of her because obviously she's in the UK, I couldn't call out. And then the phone kept dying and there was, you know, like problems with the connection and stuff, and yeah, it wasn't good. But she was just like, I'm really, really sorry to have to tell you this over the phone. This is obviously not how we'd usually do it, but you're not here, so yeah. And she said, you've got cancer.
What happened then? Like, after, when you hung up the phone from that, because what do you do?
It's a blur. It is a blur.
Right.
I think Tash was asleep, my wife, and I just remember poking her and going, the hospital's rang, I've got cancer. And she was like, what? You know, you don't, yeah. And I'm like, Tash, no, really. And I was just in floods of tears.
God, that's, I mean, like, my heart is going now because I can't imagine just having that phone call, but then, like, how do you even continue after a phone call like that? Like, just, did you even go to sleep that night?
No, not at all. Yeah, I didn't sleep. I don't know. Honestly, it's just a blur, a total blur. I didn't sleep, I didn't eat. I was really, shouldn't have done, but was Googling a lot. Oh. Which I know.
Yeah. Yeah, but we all do it. We all do it.
But one thing she did manage to say on the phone before it cut out the second time was that the bleeding in between periods is often the first sign of, like, early stage.
Okay.
So that kind of gave me a little bit of hope that it wasn't too far gone, and that most people catch it early. So that I guess did give me a bit of hope. But yeah, the first few days are a total blur. Just felt like a bit of a zombie, not really in the world.
I suppose at that point your body or your nervous system will have just gone into fight or flight mode probably just kind of like shut down.
Yeah, it was total shock.
Autopilot, right?
Yeah, I don't remember a lot at all. I remember saying to Tash, please just carry on as usual, like go to work and I'll try and work. Yeah. So we tried to keep it as normal as possible.
And did you? Like, was it positive?
The first couple of days I didn't work. I just couldn't get my head around it. I couldn't concentrate on anything other than that. But then after speaking, I had to speak to the doctors again, and speaking to my mum and just talking to people, did kind of just try and take each day as it came, and each step sort of helped me be able to get back into work and functioning semi-normally.
Yeah, so that's how you kind of got through each day. Like,
it was each day.
When you woke up each day, it was just, I'm going to just take it one day at a time.
Yeah, there's what else can you do? I couldn't plan ahead. I couldn't think about anything other than just getting through that day and seeing what happened. I didn't know what was going to happen, so you have to deal with it.
And so, like, what was like the next steps? Because you get told this news, so I assume there's some kind of like treatment. So what was it that you were then waiting for, or what was each day sort of building up to next?
It was planning what to do. So the nurse told me that actually, I can't remember in detail, but there was actually something that she could do, because I was in Thailand that I could have done here to slow down the cancer. So that was an option. I can't remember exactly what it was. I think it may have been a coil or something, because it's to do with your estrogen levels, and that's what like feeds the cancer. So it was something about slowing that down, and I was like, absolutely not. I can't live my life knowing that I've got cancer and that it is there. So that wasn't an option. So the next option was to have a hysterectomy.
Right.
Which is, I was just like, yeah, straight away. And I know that sounds crazy to some people, and I haven't got any kids, but I was, again, grateful that I could have that done and that it might be the only thing that I needed. So it was basically gearing up for that. So I had to travel back to the UK and have MRIs, CT scans, more biopsies to check the stage. Obviously they thought it was an early stage cancer, but they couldn't be sure until I'd had all the tests. So within a week I was back in the UK, staying with Mum and having all the tests done, and then seeing what could be done from there.
And what was that like, having all the tests done?
Horrendous, because I have got the worst, well, I did have the worst health anxiety.
Right.
Hated going to the doctors. Anytime I had my, you know, like my blood pressure checked and things like that, the doctors, they'd be like, are you okay? You know, your heart's beating really fast and your blood pressure's really high. Absolutely hated it. But again, you just have to do it, don't you? You can't prepare yourself for it. You just have to just go in and do it. What's the other option?
Yeah, it's interesting that you said that. You can't prepare yourself for it. You just have to do it.
No, I had no idea what was going to happen every time I walked into the hospital. You know, everything is so unknown, but you just you just do it.
Would you say that you just kind of roll with it?
It was.
Almost, yeah.
I was rolling the whole way through. I didn't feel like I was in control or prepared for anything. I just had to go with it.
But then when you were going to bed at night, and because obviously when you have appointments and you have to meet with the doctor, these are like very kind of like set in stone, solid things that you have to do. And I imagine that kind of helps you just to take one step forward, right? But what about like when you didn't have an appointment to meet with a doctor and you were at home, or you were getting ready to go to bed, or
my head was just...
How did you deal with that?
I don't know if I did. It was a mess. My head was a total mess. And I think it was just time and having to deal with that over and over again, that you just kind of get used to it. And yeah, just have to, I don't know. I don't think I dealt with it very well, but I dealt with it and I got over it and I did it, but it was really hard. I don't know if I could, you know, say a way of being able to deal with that. You just can't, you just do it. Like you said, fight or flight, you just get on with it.
Yeah.
And just have to, try your best.
I mean, I imagine some people, to an extent, like there are certain things that you just have to take action. But with something like that, I imagine for some people, like they might wake up in the morning and just not want to get out of bed.
Yeah, I had those days.
Yeah.
I did have those days. But that's normal, I guess. Thank God that I had like my family, and we were all very open about it as well. So I'd talk about it. I think talking about it helped me a lot. So yeah, there were days where I probably didn't want to get out of bed, stayed in bed a bit too long, or Mum would shout me and be like, get your ass up, let's go walk the dogs or something like that. Without them, I'd have been it was a mess, but it would have been worse. But yeah, it's I think for having family and friends around me and being able to talk about it and just be really open about it helped so much. I never thought I'd be one of those people that would be able to sit there and go, yeah, I've got cancer, and oh yeah, I've been reading this about cancer and whatever. But I did, and it helped a lot.
Yeah, because some people might really struggle with that. You know, being able to talk to someone, or might not even have anyone to speak to in terms of like family and friends. And it could, for some people, be an incredibly lonely experience. Like, if thankfully that wasn't you, but if that had been you and you had to rely solely on yourself,
I tried to think what it would have been.
do you know what you would have done?
I mean, I did have times like that where I felt lonely. Like you feel you've got everyone around you, but no one actually knows how you feel. So that is a really lonely feeling. And like you said, when you go to bed at night, you're on your own. Obviously, I was at my parents' and Tash was here. You do feel really lonely, and you do feel like a lot of people can't relate to you. And even though they're trying hard and they're doing everything they can, you do still feel lonely, even though you're surrounded by people, which is a really odd feeling, really strange.
And so in those moments, you do have to rely on yourself.
I guess so, yeah. I talk to myself a lot.
Okay. Well, I firmly believe that everyone, I literally had a conversation with my sister last night about this. Everyone speaks to themselves at some point.
Yeah.
But
that was important.
What was that narrative for you?
It was just, you've been fearing this for a long time, and now it's happening. Now you've got to just get through it, and you will get through it. And just giving myself, like, trying to give myself positive thoughts, and yeah.
I mean, that's a huge strength to be able to do that. And it sounds like you were going through affirmations.
Yeah, I don't often believe in things like that, but I guess I was. I didn't plan to do it or make myself do it, but I just did it.
Yeah.
Yeah, just telling myself, you know, you're going to get through this for you, you're going to enjoy your life, and you're going to do good things. Just trying to pick myself up a bit. And
I believe there's a lot of power in the internal narrative that we have, because you had two choices at that point. It was a 50-50 split of a negative narrative that can send you or anyone into a complete spiral mentally, like lots of negative talk, this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Or you can have a positive narrative where you try and pick yourself up and get through it. And you chose to do, and I know you're probably going to say something like, well, I didn't have a choice. But you did have a choice, and you did choose the stronger narrative.
yeah, don't get me wrong though, it wasn't like that for the whole time. You know, there were ups and downs. I wasn't always that positive. So there were times where I was like, I'm going to die. That's it. And I was planning things and thinking the worst. But then you have to just try and be more positive and get those, you know, it's like overcoming those bad thoughts and telling yourself that it's going to be okay. But yeah, there was always times where I was feeling really negative and just wanting to give up. But
so I guess the next thing was the surgery itself, right? Because that is something that can be incredibly scary, going under. Because I imagine you did go under, right? They had yeah. So what were those moments like when you sort of, you know, were given that, and then you started to, well, okay, when you start to drift off, you probably don't know what's going on, but those moments just before the surgery, like what was going on for you in that moment? How did you get, again, I know like you had to do it, but mentally, like.
It's really hard. Like I said, I was already very anxious about hospitals, and I've never had anything done. Never broken a bone, never had anything, you know, that required hospital treatment. So it was awful. It was surreal. It feels like now, it just feels like it was like another world, another life, another world. It was really strange. Really scary going under. I was petrified. I wanted them to do it without putting me to sleep.
Really?
Yeah, because there are certain, you can have a hysterectomy without going to sleep. But because I had a bulky uterus with lots of fibroids in, they couldn't take it out via keyhole, which wouldn't have required me going to sleep. I think that's right. But I had to have the big slice open, so they had to put me to sleep. And that was really weird. I felt like I was in a film or something. It was really weird. And when he put the anaesthetic in, I felt like my blood had gone really cold. It was really odd. Like inside me was really cold. And then I literally woke up like 5 hours later, like off my head.
And then that was it. Like
Yeah, I
it was
just woke up with this woman like, "Hello, Kerry." Like, who the hell are you?
Where am I?
Yeah, that was scary. I never ever thought I'd have to go through something like that. That was hard. I was like pacing up and down before and going to the toilet a lot and couldn't have a cup of tea in the morning, which was really bad.
Oh, blooming heck, yeah. So after the surgery, which was clearly successful, and did they say those words to you? It was a successful
They said
surgery,
it went well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I mean, it was a hysterectomy, so to them it's kind of an easy operation, isn't it? They
Right.
just whip it out. There was no problems or anything like that. The good thing is that they managed to keep my ovaries. So if I'd have had my ovaries removed, I'd have gone into menopause straight away. So they suggested that I didn't because of my age, because I'm still relatively young, that I didn't. So yeah, that was a good outcome. So after the op, I just had to stay home and heal for like 4 to 6 weeks, I think it took, and wait for the histology results. So obviously when they took my bits away, they went to check that the staging was actually what they said and it hadn't spread or anything. That was freaking scary.
So even after the surgery, it's not like you had the surgery and then it was like, okay, you're fine now.
No, I had to wait.
You still had to wait.
Yeah.
For the
They had
results.
to confirm that I think they said before the op, it's likely to be stage 1, which is like the earliest one. So that was obviously the hope. And then it was confirmed that it was stage 1A, I think. So it's like 1A and 1B, and mine was 1A. So it means it hadn't progressed out of like the womb wall.
So you got that news that it was successful. What happened then? Like, how did life continue for you after that?
I was like, get me back to Thailand.
Right.
I can't stay here any longer. I don't know. Life was different. I got married, which was pretty cool. And kind of a little bit YOLO, like just not giving as many fucks anymore about really trivial little things and just trying to live. I know everybody says it, but it really does change the way you think, the way you look at life, and you appreciate so much more.
So life before versus life now, you would say it's completely different. Like your perspective on life.
Totally different. Yeah. So I would worry about such trivial little things before that don't even cross my mind now. I mean, I still have my moments, but things aren't as important as they were then. And people and experiences are far more important than anything else.
And do you think that change in perspective, like, why do you think that change in perspective happens? I mean, apart from the obvious, but you know, you could have gone through all of that and come out of it and still, you know, be sweating over the small stuff. What do you think it is that actually makes you change it to be like...
It is the
I don't
obvious.
give a
You
fuck
think you're going
anymore.
to die. And it makes you realise that you could at any moment.
Right.
I know it sounds really morbid, but it's going to happen, isn't it? And when you have that in front of you, it makes you think you've got to live your life and you've got to do all the things that you haven't done and stop giving a shit about the things that don't mean anything. So I can't explain it in any other way except for that.
No, I think you did it just perfectly. Like you realised that our life isn't promised to us. Our time on the planet isn't promised to us. Tomorrow isn't promised. Tonight isn't promised to us. And so it's making the most of the time that we've got, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And until I think, you know, I can sit here until I'm blue in the face and tell people go out and live your lives. People aren't going to do it, I don't think, until something like that happens. I mean, maybe people do. I don't know. I didn't. But until you have that experience, you don't fully understand. If you know what I mean. That sounds, yeah, I don't want to be like patronising, but it is really,
I don't think you're patronising. I think you're truthful and you're honest in that. And you know, I have a lot of chats with people, and you know, hence the nature of this show in itself, right? Is that it's true. Like we know that anything can happen at any point, and we know that we should make the most of our life, and we shouldn't settle for less. That we should chase our dreams no matter how ridiculous they might seem to us or anyone else. But there's still something that holds a lot of people back from doing it. And I do think a lot of it is that we whether meaning to or not, just take life for granted. We just don't expect that something bad is going to happen to us, because it's so surreal, as it was for you. You know, you went to the doctor thinking it was something else. You didn't know it was going to be what it was. And so I feel like that is one of the biggest things, is that we just don't think it's going to happen to us.
No.
But it's so naive and ignorant, really, to think in that way, because whether it's health, whether it's Mother Nature.
Something is going to take it away.
How does that affect other fears that you have in your life and other challenges that you come across?
Like doing this.
Like doing this.
It's like my biggest, my worst nightmare. But it is about, I had to deal with that and I had to get through it, and now I know that I need to do that in more situations in life, and I need to push myself. Instead of shying away from things that, you know, I might want to do, but I don't do because I'm scared. So now it has given me that courage to be able to push myself into things that I would usually just shy away from.
What is it that you tell yourself when you're thinking, I'm going to back out, but you switch that you have that mindset switch where you're like, no, I'm going to do it. What are you telling yourself?
What is there to lose?
What is there to lose?
Yeah, and you know, you've been through that. You can go through anything. I think that's it. Very simply, you know, if you can do that, you can pretty much do anything. And just tell yourself that there is nothing to lose. If you try it and you don't like it, or you fail, whatever, it's not the end of the world. There's bigger things to worry about.
What would you say to someone who is either currently going through this, like has just had that phone call and is currently in there waiting to get the surgery?
I actually had, about a few months after my op, a friend that I used to play roller derby with messaged me out of the blue and tell me that she'd just had that diagnosis. And it's really difficult because I can't even remember what I said. It's hard to know what to say, because nothing anyone says is going to help in that situation, in that time. I think it felt like people were saying, oh, it'll be all right, you know, no. But your mind is more in control than anybody else. Anything anyone says is kind of just goes in one ear and out the other. So you just have to, I think I just said to her, just be strong, you're going to get through it, you just have to take each day as it comes. There's not a lot I can say that's going to make you feel better. I'm not going to be able to help you sleep tonight. You know, all those things are still going to happen. You're going to go through all of these emotions and this process of just getting through it. But just to know that you will get through it, because I did, and everybody does. But at the time you don't think you will, and you think it's the end of the world, and you know, but you do get through it. So yeah, it's hard. It's a hard one.
And I guess I also ask that question from your personal advice and experience, but also as someone who has had a family member go through something similar. And yeah, sometimes like you just don't know what to say because you can't relate. No. You really can't relate. There's nothing that you can, in comparison to something like that. if you haven't ever had those words said to you or had a near-death experience, it's incredibly hard to relate and to know what to say to comfort, because most people definitely are just, it's okay, you're going to be okay.
Yeah.
And that's not, yeah, right. I imagine not the best thing to say. So what would you say to people who have loved ones that are going through something and are trying to support them but just have no idea?
Stop saying it's going to be okay. Because in your mind, it's not okay. And listening as well, like if you're someone that talks or wanted to talk through it like me, just being able to listen and allowing me to have negative moments where everything was terrible and I was going to die. Just, I know it's horrible for family and friends to hear that, but just to get it all out and have people to listen to that, and yeah, it helps a lot. It helped me so much. And I know it must have been absolutely horrendous for my family and friends to listen to me going, I'm going to die. But it helped so much just to be able to get it all out and it not be kind of just eating me up inside. So if you can listen and just be normal. Yeah, I mean, everybody's different. I can't advise what's best for everyone, but what worked for me was having people to listen to, people being normal, being able to talk about it openly, not, shying away from the word cancer. Just keeping everything really normal and natural helped so much. So
yeah, thank you for that. With your whole new perspective on life and things like that, would you say that you're a risk taker now? Are you open to risks, or do you still have things that, are you just like, I'm carefree YOLO now, or do you still have things where you're like, oh?
I think I definitely, for the first year after my op, went a little bit crazy.
Okay.
I was like, let's go here, let's do that, I don't care about saving money and blah, blah, blah. But then it does kind of hit you after a while. You're like, shit, my savings. But definitely more risks. And I definitely want to push myself more and put myself in situations that I wouldn't. I'm not going to go and jump out of a plane anytime soon. But I will try to take more risks and do things that I've wanted to do before, and just live life.
Is there anything in particular that you do now that you were never able to do before?
I don't know.
I don't know, it could be little things like speaking up about stuff, or...
Well, I mean, doing this was a big thing.
Right.
I would never do that. Anyone that knows me from school will know that I used to Skype anytime I had to do a presentation or speak in front of the class, anything like that. Worst nightmare. I think my whole family has this big fear about
public speaking?
Yeah. So doing this obviously is a big thing. And just, I don't know, I think over the years I've lost a lot of confidence for whatever reason. And just being able to meet new people and be a bit more of my old self, outgoing, it's kind of brought me back a little bit to what I was when I was younger, and given me more confidence to just think, you're going to make some friends, you're not going to make some friends, they might like you, they might not. Stop worrying about what people think about you. You are who you are. And
I love that. People will like you or people will not like you, just be you, kind of thing. Yeah.
Because I was always so worried about what people thought.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And now I'm just like, I mean, I still have a little bit, but I just think, why does it matter? It doesn't matter. He'll like you, she'll like you, they might not. It really doesn't matter to me now. And I do want to meet more people and get to know people and different cultures and outlooks, and yeah.
If there's anything that you wish that you could do, we haven't done yet, because I don't know, maybe you're a bit scared or something.
Actually jumping out of a plane.
Oh, really? Okay. Is that something that you want to do?
I've always wanted to.
Oh, okay.
And I think when I was younger, I should have done it when I was 18, 20, because I had a lot of confidence then, and I had no fear. Nothing would cross my mind about, how bad it could end up or whatever. But now obviously I've got older, you think about things more, don't you? And things like that start to worry you a bit sometimes.
Why do you think that is though? Like, why do you think that what is that switch that goes on from young to adult?
I don't know, because you're fearless when you're young, aren't you? I really don't know. It's just growing up and experiences and learning. I don't know. Yeah.
For me, I feel like fear is future related. Fear is something that we worry about happening, right? It's never, even when it's in the moment, it hasn't happened yet.
Yeah.
You're fearing about something that's going to happen. And I feel like as we get older and we have more experiences and more knowledge of the world and more knowledge of things that could go wrong from certain experiences.
Yeah.
Maybe we read the news that we see someone jumped out of a plane and died. Or,
yeah.
I feel like this has a huge influence on us, that we feed our minds, or we're fed, these experiences that have happened. And obviously the older that we get, the more of those that we hear. And then it tops up and tops up.
Yeah. And with things like social media and stuff as well, you're like, it's in your face all the time, so you can't really ignore it. But I think I spent a lot of time fearing things like that and lost a lot of confidence. And now I think this has given me a bit of a boost to, I'm not going to go, now and jump out of a plane, but doing the
never say never.
Don't even try. But doing little things like this, I'm guessing that there must be other things as well that I've probably shied away from. I'm not quite sure what, but there will be, I'm sure. And chipping away a little bit at a time to sort of face those fears and push yourself out of your comfort zone, because I was very much in a comfort zone.
So taking it just little bit by little bit and building up.
Yeah.
So what would be your ending advice to anyone who, and it doesn't necessarily have to be anyone who's, gone through a cancer diagnosis, just anyone who is currently feeling like they're stuck in a rut with life, that there's another life that they just want to live and want to have, but for whatever reason, there's fear, barriers, they don't feel confident, they don't feel courageous enough to chase their dreams. What would be your advice to that person?
It's just, everybody says it, but you have only got one life. And I think a lot of the time now, I think about when I do eventually get to that point that I'm dying, am I going to have regrets? And if I am, making sure that I don't let that happen. So every time something happens that I need to push myself, I just tell myself I've got to do it. I do not want to be lying there dying with regrets. It's the having regrets, I think, is one of the worst feelings. I've got regrets from the past. I don't want any more. So push yourself. You can push yourself. Just, you have to make yourself do it. I don't know how. I can't help people do that, but you just have to do it, push it, do whatever you can to break those walls down and those barriers and get out of your comfort zone. And just think long term about how it would make you feel if you don't do those things.
Love that. Thank you so much.
You are very welcome.
Really appreciate it. And I'm sure everyone watching appreciate it as well.
Yeah, really.
And you got through it, so now you can tick that off your list.
Yeah, chipping away.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.